All right, ladies, I think we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Talk About It Tuesdays. So glad that you all have joined us. And what I want to ask, and actually, you know what? Let's mute ourselves, maybe. I'm hearing some feedback. I don't know if the audience, can you let us know if you are hearing us um, okay and seeing us okay? Definitely give us a hello. And we are bidding you hello as well, bringing all of this positive energy and vibes your way. Let us know that you can see and hear us and where you are coming from. And I'm going to go ahead and get started because I am excited to have this conversation, this dope dialogue with these two dope guests that we have on Talk About It Tuesday. I am Carmellita Turner, as you can see by my name, and I am the CEO and founder of Call Carmellita, the brand. This is our channel. We're so glad that you guys are with us. So glad to see everybody here. As you know, yesterday, I believe, yeah, it was yesterday. Yesterday was International Women's Day, but if you'll recall, this entire month is Women's Herstory Month. Congress actually changed that in 1987. It used to be a week. Now it's a month. In my opinion, it's every day, especially for Black women. But I mean, hey, I said what I said. So that is why I was so excited to introduce this segment on my Talk About It Tuesdays, Dope Dialogue with Women, because I always know that having conversations with women is so powerful for me as an individual, and I know for the collective. So I'm so happy to have these wonderful Black queens with me here today. I am also the host of the Realist Realtor podcast. Yes, that is what I do in my real life. I am a realtor, but as women, we are all the things. So you can find me on Anchor and Spotify Wednesdays at 3 p.m. And so please make sure that you join us over there as well. And we are grateful to you in advance for doing that. People often ask me, what's my superpower? I can relate all things to real estate. Yeah, it's pretty tricky, but I can do it. I educate people on having unstoppable credit, and I help them with mindset so that they understand the power and the wealth that's generated from owning more dirt and more doors. That's bigger than just real estate. It has to be. And that's why we're here having these dope dialogues and these discussions, because all of us, whatever our wheelhouse is or whatever it is that we do, it all starts with that mindset, but it also starts with making powerful connections with each other and other people so that we are constantly fortifying ourselves and really having courageous conversations. I think that's what I want to say. Courageous conversations that a lot of times just don't happen on a regular basis, especially now when we've all been kind of isolated from each other due to the pandemic. So, also, since I mentioned mindset, I want to give a shout out and gratitude to our sponsor partner, OYO, Own Your Own. Yes, that is our mindset brand. It is a premium apparel brand that just launched this month. So, wow, when I say we are excited and proud about that, we truly are. OYO, or Own Your Own, is indeed a mindset brand. It came out of the work that I do as a realtor and the realization that I had that helping people make the biggest wealth foundational purchase of their life is serious business, and it's bigger than dirt and doors. And many times it had to start with me helping them in the area of mindset, understanding that giving ourselves the power to own our own thoughts, to own our own voices, to own our own financial freedom, to own our own time. My God, boy, I'm about to give a word in here today. All of those things are important. So I am so happy that OYO, my brand, will be sponsoring me on a regular basis. Boy, I tell you, ladies, y'all don't know how much that makes me proud. Let me give some shout outs. Welcome, Stephanie. Glad to see you. Hello, Micah. Hello, Gloria. So glad that you all are here with us. Thank you all so much for joining us. So I'm glad to have you. Now, let me introduce these fire authors because we're about to get in it. Y'all know over here on Call Carmellita, when I bring the note cards, y'all already know what's about to go down. So I am going to start with our first guest. This is actually her first time appearance on the channel Call Carmellita. So we're so glad to have her. Author Empress Simone. She's affectionately called Empress. She hails out of Bronx, and so that is always we're always glad to have some of the East Coast family.
Hi,
Her
guys.
degree, we're glad you're here. Empress has a degree in journalism and mass communication, but let me tell you, this queen is about to get her master's next month. Yes, yes, next month in journalism and mass communication. I'm gonna give some snaps on that one. She's about to get that master's degree. I know that's right, mama. So she is in line to have that bestowed upon her very soon, and we're very happy about that. Empress Simone has published numerous urban fiction novels and other novels in all subcategories. As an indie writer, she has made the Amazon bestsellers list many times. She placed twice on UBAW's top 100 African American authors. That is so wonderful. And guess what? She also ghostwrites for other people who want to fit their vision into a best-selling novel. This woman does it all, and she's a publisher. Okay, listen, I don't have step around here. We don't have step. We bring the best of the best. Empress Simone is also a member of the New York Association of Black Journalists. She helps to network. She helps to network with other people that she admires in the field of journalism. And let me tell you, like I said, once she gets that master's, even she's already been doing it, but she's going to be even greater once she has that. Her mantra is power in the pen, and she has promised to dedicate her career as one who will use her words for the benefit of the community that she holds dear, the Black urban community. You better go ahead and say that, Bronx. I know that's right. I'm loving that, Empress Simone. I'm loving it. We are glad that you're here. My next guest, another powerhouse in the house. She's a returning guest and a dear friend of Call Carmellita the brand and of Call Carmellita the person. Morgan B. Holland, coach, author, and publisher. Yes, she owns her own publishing house. Morgan hails from Prince George's County, Maryland. She helps people authentically express themselves in writing and to publish their works for the world to see. How important that is, so important. Morgan believes that writing is a form of literary therapy. Yes, it is. And a way to pivot a person's perspective to aid in healing and growth. In addition to running her publishing company, Mullen Press, she also wrote, come on, y'all, you know, the Merge series, one of my top favorite series, which she's actually slated to release the fourth, and I hate to say this, Morgan, and final book in that series in a month, right? It's in a month, it's dropping in a month. Oh gosh, I'm getting nervous. I'm getting nervous. But don't worry, people. Even though that will be the end of the Merge series, she has more books than her. Between the two women that you see on this screen, let me tell you, they got so many books. We'll all be reading for a long time to come. Trust me on that. A lot of good literature. Oh my gosh, I have goosebumps. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have you guys here. So, hey, Josie, so happy that you joined us. All right, now that we got those intros out of the way, I feel like I should roll my sleeves up, ladies, because we got stuff to talk about on this Talk About It Tuesday, okay? Because there have been so many things going on that I don't think we ever really have a chance to collectively come together and talk about. So, you all know I live my life through books and music. So, I'm going to start off with a quote from one of New York's homeboys, Jay-Z, from his song Kingdom Come. And I quote, it's much bigger issues in the world, I know, but I first had to take care of the world I know. So let me tell you why we're here today. We're going to take care of the world we know. The world that I know as Carmelita Turner, realtor, mom, daughter, sister, friend, aunt. I'm not a grandma yet. Shout out to Haley. But put it out there in the atmosphere. The world that I know is the beautiful, challenging, awesome, frustrating, phenomenal journey of being a Black woman. That's the world that I know. That's the world that we're going to discuss today through a lot of what we are seeing happen and unfolding in front of our eyes every day. So, one of the things that I told both of you that I wanted to start off talking about was the situation that occurred in Ohio with a young lady that actually is facing some very serious charges because of an incident. Let me just say, just because you know I'm the realest realtor and all I can deal with are the facts. Even before COVID, this is just throwing it out there. Black women were faced with evictions at a rate of 2 times that of whites in over 17 states in the United States. This was before COVID. So you can only imagine what that number looks like now that we are still a year into COVID, okay? They were the most impacted as stay-at-home orders were rolled out due to the fact that they either lost work or they had reduced work because many Black women are in industries, whether service industries, things of that nature, where you cannot work from home. So we know that before COVID, they were already struggling with housing security, as we call it in my real estate world. They were already struggling there. Then they were impacted financially because their jobs were reduced or they just lost them altogether. And I'm sure all of us here on the chat today, we've been seeing all of the troubles and challenges with the unemployment, the debates over do we extend it, do we not extend it. They just had a whole night of staying up and debating and finally pass something that looks like it may be yet again another temporary fix. Okay, so that's just kind of setting the scene. So that brings us to Shayna Bell of Ohio, 24-year-old young lady who was living in a Motel 6, and she had to leave her children in the Motel 6. She has a 10-year-old daughter and she has a 2-year-old daughter so that she could go work at her job, which, by the way, is at Little Caesars. Okay? This was like the end of February. And what happened was that they found the 2 girls after 6. Mom was due back home at 10 p.m. Okay? The police said they got a tip that the girls were alone, a 10-year-old and a 2-year-old in this Motel 6. Why were they in this Motel 6, you're probably asking me? Because mom had lost their home. So they're staying in this Motel 6. She has to go work at this low paying job at Little Caesars to pay for the damn room at the Motel 6 so that they can continue to have sanctuary, have a roof over their head. And this tip brings the police, child protective services, all of these people to this hotel. They go to her job. They arrested her at her job, and they have charged her with 2 counts of child endangerment, which in that state is felonious. So two felonies she's facing as of today. So my question, ladies, are we tired yet of the criminalization of poverty, especially when we know that for Black women, and I'm not going, I don't need to say my age, but we know during the Reagan years, child care and all of those types of helping arenas and subsidies were obliterated. They've never been restored. We know that Black women are still making less across the board. I don't care if you're working at the Little Caesars or as a government contractor, you still ain't getting paid as much as everybody else. I don't care what you say. The statistics show it clearly. Are we getting to a point where this continual criminalization of poverty, we're looking at this debate over raising the stupid federal minimum wage. I mean, $15, that still ain't enough for people to take care of themselves. Like, what is it? Why are we constantly finding ourselves here? And let me say, Shayna Bell, come on, this ain't new. She ain't the first one. It happens all the time. Children are stripped from Black homes all the time. Black homes are often forced to be segmented because certain types of services and helping funds can't come into a home that has a man at the helm. Come on now. Somebody talk to me up in here because y'all know I'm getting fired up. So, okay, who would like to start? Well, actually, you know what? I'll let you go, Morgan, and then Empress, I'll let you start, and I'll be quiet. I'll mute myself.
Okay, so what I find interesting is how the government, they create more roadblocks for you while also doubling down on their enforcement of their so-called rules. So they're doing two things at one time, right? And then you think about why. This isn't for the protection of the children, because the concern will be preventative so that they will not end up out of their home. And this isn't because of money, because it's more expensive to pay. Do you know how many different jobs are involved in removing one child from somebody's home? The police officers, the social workers, they have to stay somewhere, so that's foster care. You have to pay the foster care person. So there's a lot of money going to multiple people while they take the person who's taking care of the child to jail, which is also another resource on tax dollars. So when you think about it from an economic standpoint, what makes the most sense is to give the mom some money, to put the mom in a home. It's the cheapest avenue for the state. You don't got to pay the police. You don't got to pay the social workers. You don't got to pay foster care. You don't got to do the hours, the magistrate, the correctional officers, the booking people. None of those people. But then, as you hear me say it out loud, a lot of people eating at the expense of this Black woman going to jail. And we got to find a way to move the dollars to where we want them to go. And this is why they do that. In my opinion, I tell you, Carmellita, the United States government does not have one single problem, okay? They have all these solutions. The issue is pretending like they're working on something while also keeping the bag for them. And that's getting more difficult when you have people like us having discussions and pressing the issues like, hey, this doesn't make sense from a psychological perspective. It doesn't make sense from a financial perspective. It doesn't make sense from an economical perspective. So please, somebody tell me what perspective doesn't make sense. It's racial.
That is so spot on. Make it make sense, way. It makes no sense at all, right? Yeah, I love that. They have to give us the appearance of working on something while keeping the bag. Go ahead, Empress. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I was what you was called a latchkey kid. My parents worked. I stayed at home. I knew not to touch the door, not to do this, not to do that. My question is, what is the homeless shelter system like out there? Once ACS became involved, that's what we call it in New York City, Administration for Children's Services. They shouldn't have arrested her, but tell her and her kids to go into placement in a shelter system. The goal should have been to keep them together, right? And to find them housing. So I want to know what that's Ohio. Am I correct? What is
Yeah.
this homeless system like? Why were the kids removed and why? Because there was no abuse, right? She was working. She wasn't out partying. The goal should have been to keep parent and children together. There's nothing wrong with putting them in a temporary home until she could afford a place. So that I agree with Morgan. You know, with they're trying to feed everybody else except for the mom. Why was the mom, separated from the kids? So it's a big it's one we are the homeless advocates, you know?
And that is, oh, go ahead, Morgan. I'm sorry.
Another thing is traumatizing AF to children. Police officers are traumatizing, period. That whole which one to be when you grow up and you're in school, the police officer comes in, traumatizing AF because of what they represent. Those kids, they didn't know what was going on, what was happening. They're around all these strangers. You think these strangers, you think everyone was coddling them and making sure that their emotional stability, and you want to take their mother off the jail? I don't trust you. Would you trust somebody who took the only person that you knew away after you already lost your house and then you lost your friends and then you lost your school? You got to be stuck in this room and then somebody come and take you away. Do we even know if they're even in the same foster home? Because that's 10 and 2. That's two different requirements. And I don't know the gender of the children, but that's a big gap. There's no, psychologically speaking, if you want to put money towards something, it should be in the reduction of psychological trauma to children, because that's what's in the best interest of children.
I love that.
It's even about children, but we
Yeah,
know it's not.
right. The reduction of trauma, the reduction of that trauma. Okay, so I'm gonna hit you all with this one. I'm gonna bring it a little more. We're gonna move it a little forward, and I'm glad to see my favorite herbalist has joined us. Carl, we got some male energy in the building. Glad that he's here. Hey Dana, hey Gina. So happy to see everyone that's here with us. So let me say this. Both of the children are female, 10 and 2, right? But let me hit you with this. Once they arrested the mom, they turned the children over to the dad. Okay, now, so I know that stay with me, stay with me. So the and let me say this again. This is just a dope dialogue with women, right? And we are not here. We're here to be solution minded. But we're talking a 24-year-old young woman. She got a kid that's 10, y'all. Do the math. Do the math. Okay? Do the math. So this child, for all intents and purposes, and I know Morgan gonna get me straight on this one, she is stuck in the mindset of at least a 14-year-old or younger. Okay? So there's that part, right? Now she has this 10-year-old and a 2-year-old. So I'm wondering, is it the same father? I don't know. Not that it's my business. None of that's my business. But I'm like, okay, you're turning them over to this father. Where was this joker when she needed to go to work? What's happening? So when we talk about our structure, our families, like when we really think about the fact that we have grown people, some of them are my age, that are operating with the mindset of younger kids. Like I said, for all intents and purposes, I'm just saying 14 for this young lady because that's when she had her first child. At 14, my daughter was still trying to find her daggone drumsticks so we could go to her band practice. Okay, so I'm just saying this. I'm sure she is doing the best she knows to do, and as Empress said, there was no abuse. She took care of her children. I mean, the children looked well loved and well cared for. I mean, that's all just appearances. So I don't know, all of these things. But when you say we turned them over to the father, that confused me. I was a little bit confused. What are your thoughts on that? How should we feel when we then read that part of what happened? Either of you.
Okay. So from what I understand, this is allegedly, of course, the father was the one who provided the tip. Allegedly. So, I was raised by a single dad. You know, he took me when I was 2, and until he met his wife, we lived in a boarding room. So I don't understand when a male is not in their child's life. Like you said, where was he all this time? Why wasn't he watching the children? There's so many questions, but I don't want to assault his character. Maybe they've had conversations. Maybe there's some elements we don't know about concerning him. But did they do an investigation before they turned him over to the father? You understand what I'm saying? All of this needs to be answered, but allegedly he was the one who gave the tip. I don't know if it's true or not. But where was he while she was working until 10? You know? So I don't know. I
And I
guess he
always
would have to be the one to answer that question.
right. And I always, come back to the main thing for me. What is someone's motivation? Go ahead, Morgan.
Okay. So, in my opinion, I feel that it was a child who was traumatized. Having a child at 14 is a trauma, who didn't get the type of help she needed. And then now, she has more children and she's doing the best from her level of awareness, right? What I don't get is that here in America, it's illegal in only 2 states for a child to get married under the age of 18. But as for the rest, they have varying laws, varying ages, and some have no minimum age at all, just if you have a parent consent. So you can marry a child. That means you can have children. In some places, if a child gets pregnant, if you can manage to get the child to marry the abuser, it is a civil matter. If the child doesn't marry the abuser, it's a criminal one. It's so fuzzy when it comes to little girls and their sexuality, right? But it's crystal clear. You can't rent a car until 25 without getting extra insurance. We're very clear on that though, you know? So I feel like she's been traumatized having a child that young. And then as far as doing the research on investigating the father, again, like Empress says, I do not know him. I don't know his character. I don't know the motivation behind wanting the kids to be removed from the mom. But that's why you go to court. You see, if you go to court for custody when you want custody of your children, and you put forth the effort with the facts of the matter to why you should have them. But in my mind, he's either equally young, because God forbid he's not, because that's nasty, because she was 14. So staying on the healthier side, he's equally as young. So who knows who's guiding him? It's two traumatized people making children, in the government manipulating the situation for their favor. Because the lady, the girls, go to jail. That's money. It's just money. Y'all, you know how I feel. It's money.
It's all money. It's all money. So let me bring it full circle. So and I'm glad that Empress did share that piece, and then I'll share this last piece because I saw Carl make a comment about the NBA players or someone of means should come together by her house. I say the positive news. So there was a GoFundMe that was started for her. They raised over $165,000, which in Ohio, and I think it's called like Liberty Township. The realtor in me, I went to look up housing prices, and yeah, she could get something very nice, very safe for her and her children. But here is where the true discussion must start. Who then guides her on a journey like that? Because as the realest realtor, and I see my girl Stephanie DeBerry is here. As realtors, we know if you're operating with the mindset of a 14-year-old and dealing with people that are equally young, they did say the GoFundMe was started by her mother. So I guess the mother is like, all of these things are all confusing, right? It's all the things. But it's a perfect opportunity for her and her girls to actually OYO, own their own home, own their own door, own their own dirt. But that requires someone to guide them. That requires someone educating all of them on, we're not taking this money and making it rain somewhere. We need to understand what is for the greater good. So, for this particular example, what are some things that we can say amongst ourselves just here having this girlfriend dialogue that should happen in our Black community? Because let me tell you something, I show up here on this YouTube channel consistently. I am constantly talking. I am constantly putting information out there. I show up. I did take the month of February off because your girl was burnt out, but I constantly show up on the Realist Realtor podcast every Wednesday at 3. And it is almost like getting the message out is sometimes challenging. And I know as authors, you all write about these things as well. I know you both do. And even with that, it becomes a challenge, kind of getting that word out more. What are some of the things, the behaviors that we should be doing in our Black community to help get information out? And, in situations like this, I'm wondering, how do we connect? I'm a conduit. I connect people all the time. And I'm always trying to figure out, how do we connect people in a way where, hey, oh my gosh, this happened there. Guess what? So and so, you should, reach out to this person or reach out. Do you all have thoughts on that, especially when you all write about these things in your literature? So, Empress, I'll let you start.
Okay, so I think that we are doing, technology is best. We are doing the right thing. You have a platform where you can say, look, this happened to women like Shania Bell, right? You're also in the real estate arena field. So you can get her information on, this is affordable for you. You understand? Me as a writer, I also have a serious platform, not only for my creative works, but for my professional work. I can call awareness to the situation. This is what's going on. There was no goals to keep mom and children together. So what can we do to rally around her? I really want to know why mom started the GoFundMe, but mom wasn't assisting in the evening, just to put that out there. So there is no more village. Remember growing up, because you brought up Reagan, and those times we had a village. If I wasn't home, I was down the block at my best friend's house while my parents did whatever it was they had to do. And so in the Black community, we need to get that village back, and know that not everything is an attack, and that we must respect the elders, because they're going to be the ones to help us with the children. I was fortunate to have my dad when I was working. So in the Black community, technology is key. Calling awareness to situations is key. Educating people on financial literacy is key. Everybody chipping in and helping out with the kids is key. And that's what I really feel at this point in time.
You saw me taking notes, Empress.
Uh,
That was awesome.
Yes, I totally agree with Empress. And also going back. So some people make it out the hood or make it out from wherever they were and they never go back, right? So go back. You already know what it was like when you were there, and you know how it felt to think you were never going to leave that place. And you know the excitement you had when you first left. And then when you went to the next place or the next country or the next wherever, to go back. It's you got to be able to reach the people where they are, right? So I can run a Facebook ad about the resources for the homeless, but the homeless not on Facebook, right? So what would be better is if you were to everybody know, just like in California, and you know where Skid Row is, you know where the bridges are, where the homeless people are, go there. And no, not the police, because they're inadequate and they do not know how to talk to people, more or less each other. You have to go there with mental health professionals. You have to go there with counselors. You have to go there with therapists, people who know how to communicate, right? And not be judgmental, but you got to go where the people are. Go to the Motel 6. You know what Motel 6 are. You know where Econo Lodge is. You know what Motel 8 is. You just go there. You're going to see the people. You're going to see the cars packed with stuff. Put a flyer on it. Like, you have to. So yes, social media is great, but if you know, go back to your neighborhood and you live as an example, and the little kid are like, you used to live here. You like, yeah, I live on 48th off of Sheriff Road.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, for real?
Yeah.
And I made it up. I'm like, look, and I went to Egypt. You want to see? You went on a plane, like, because they feel attacked. We sometimes feel attacked when somebody who is at a higher level says something, and it's like, oh, they don't think we smart, or they don't think we know this, or we don't know something. You know what I'm saying? So imagine somebody who is not at your level of awareness, and you're trying to help them. They may feel like you're judging them. People always automatically feel defensive. So if you ain't ready to take off your Manolos, your heels, put on some sweats and t-shirts, and get sweaty with them and jump in the fire, the fire still hose that be just going off.
That's right. That's right.
Like, I can help you. They not going to connect sometimes.
Right.
And we can do that because we got code switching down. You could be
here. We do it all the time. We do it all the time. Whether, we're here talking with each other or we're walking into, some meeting that we're trying to get a contract for, whether Empress is going to a dinner with other journalists. We do it all the time. When me and Empress first talked, I was like, I said, my bestie is from the Bronx, Noble Ave, right? Like, we know we do this all the time. This is what we do, right? So it's not that we don't know how to do that, but I love what you're both saying, because Empress is like, we got to get back to the village. And you're like, you got to take it to the people where they are. And what I am saying is that when you were talking about go to the Motel 6, heck, I'm in Arlington, but in Virginia, there was another influencer. She was going to this hotel in Virginia Beach every day, filming it on Facebook Live because they were trying to, evict the people unjustifiably, trying to get the police. Now, mind you, they weren't living in the best, situations. They had bed bugs, no AC, like it was a mess. And you know what she did? Every day, one woman show, her and her phone. Sometimes y'all gotta take it to the streets. And that's why, and when Empress and I first talked, one of the things that she told me, which we're about to get to this next, she was talking about kind of the struggle that sometimes people may have, more so for you all as authors, not for the realist realtor, because I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. I've been this way since I was a little girl. So I don't have any problem saying that I'm rooting for everybody that's Black. I don't have a problem saying that. I know in the areas that you all operate in, fiction is one thing, but journalism, as Empress also has to do, is another thing, right? You can't have, any perceived, air quote, perceived bias in there at all, because they have plenty of bias on their end. It's just when we do it, then it's a problem. Okay, so there's that part. So I know that there are times where we've got to safely insert ourselves into situations where we're able to make a difference. And all I'm saying to everybody that's here today, start where you are. I'm not saying put yourself in harm's way, but I am saying that for all of us that have made it to a certain level, we're able to take it back to where we started. We're able to try to at least form a village of our, I don't care if it's you and 3 of your friends, and you just take toiletries to homeless women every week. You know how hard it is for homeless women to get sanitary items, toiletries, and things, and they living on the street. That's a small thing, but it's something that we can all do. So I love that both of you shared that, because great minds think alike. Now, speaking of minds and mental health and other stuff, Meghan Markle, baby, and hip happening Harry. Harry ain't with it, baby. Harry bought all that fire. So let me say, this has been the most interesting thing to watch. Now, let me say, as beautiful melanated women, I wasn't shocked. But I mean, I guess Oprah had to act like she was shocked. But I don't think many of us were shocked. I know Black Twitter has just been going off the chain and being totally crazy. But if Morgan will indulge me, I would like to share a post that Morgan wrote about this situation. And she said, this whole Meghan and Harry situation is the perfect example of people blaming the victim's perception of their abuse for the reason the abuser looks bad. This is why victims of abuse and trauma fall back, move away, and ignore their abusers and people who support their abusers. We literally live in a society that blames the victim for nearly everything. Then we demand victims to forgive their abusers as God forgave them, because if they don't, they won't get up into heaven. I call bullshit. You don't need to focus on forgiving your abuser. You need to focus on forgiving yourself for the role you feel you played in trusting, allowing, not preventing the abuse to happen. This is where a victim's energy needs to go, not on saving the face of their abuser. Morgan, my God, why don't you tell the people how you really feel? So let me tell you, all I'm gonna say is I agree wholeheartedly. When I did watch the entire interview, and I think she looks absolutely adorable, all big and pregnant. And I'm kind of happy for her actually that she will have the ability to be pregnant this go round without all of that stress. Because when she made that comment about literally wanting to die. Like when you heard her speaking, she had a plan. She was going to kill herself. Like, and I could not believe, and then she said, but yet I could get no help. So to me, when I hear that, I understand the monarchy. I've been to London. I've been there. I've seen that. I know they have handlers. They have a whole team of people that, deal with the PR and deal with the this and deal with the that. And it cracks me up because it's like, well, y'all Bamas are only here, on bloody bodies and bloody dirt and doors. Don't let the realest realtor really tell you what's going on. So the whole reason everybody is so concerned is because you are scared that you feel the energy shift in the world, and my ancestors are coming for you, baby. Excuse me. I didn't mean to interject on your post, Morgan. But I am saying that you are so evil, and I ain't gonna even say allegedly, that you cannot get mental health assistance for someone who's clearly in trouble, was only one of the many things that they did that I find absolutely disgusting. Morgan, I'll let you comment, and then Empress, you take it away.
I saw the interview. She did an amazing job while telling her story and trying her best for them not to look as bad. They picked the right one. He married a good Black woman, because I would have been saying first and last names like y'all didn't know who I was referring to. Like I would have. And the truth of the matter is, I feel like she wasn't wanted there. And it was the fact that everybody was loving her. Like when they mentioned that Australia tour, and then I was like, hold on, I was thinking about Diana and thinking about the love and thinking about the support. And the problem is, can they afford for people to get behind Meghan? What does that do for the power of the monarchy? You cannot let the people get behind Meghan, so they got to get in front of it. That's how I interpret it, because that's what someone like that would do to maintain their control. I must be honest though, I had no idea when she said they take the keys and the passport and the driver's license. That's the sunken place. And I believed Harry when he said he didn't even know he was, like stuck. He didn't know, because that was just how his existence. And then when he got with her, and it became clear, like I was feeling the people gonna say whatever they're gonna say over there in the UK, right? So I understand, why they came over here, but like as a victim, she did a very good job as someone who was traumatized and who was abused and who was attacked. She did a very good job not belittling or trying to make them look bad. She was not doing that. She was just explaining herself the best that she could without doing more damage onto them, which was kind of her. But it kind of irritated me because even when she never really referred to herself as a Black person, but as a mixed race person that's mixed with Black. Even when you are traumatized and abused, you still have to be considerate of the abuser when they're never considerate of you. And the fact that if you aren't considerate of your abuser while you are describing your abuse from your perspective, right? Because everyone has their own perspective, then she would be evil or wrong. She's trying to bring down the monarchy and the idea that people loving this mixed race Black woman is threatening. Further proves what we already know. The biggest threat to the existence of this whole power structure, whether in the UK or here, is unity amongst Blacks. But that's all I gotta say about that.
Girl, say that. Say that one. Go ahead, Empress.
Okay. So I was having a problem hearing everything that Morgan said, but I agree with her. The biggest threat is unity. I personally didn't see the whole interview. What did shock me was the comment about the skin tone, the baby skin tone. What also I'm conflicted about is Serena's post to Megan. I know it's supposed to be of encouragement, but it's something where she told her, remember long suffering and mildness. So I'm like, so Black people are expected to suffer long, and we're expected not to get a little riled up. We have to remain mild and calm. I do no longer practice Christianity. I do have some Christian beliefs, but one issue that I have is I understand the power of forgiveness, and forgiveness is for self, but can I express the emotion of anger first? And so Megan has a right to tell her story. She was a victim, or she still is a victim of horrible press and horrible racism and stuff. But why are we, it's like they want to censor her maybe. She's allowed to tell her story, and Piers Morgan really should allow her to tell her story. He shouldn't be, it's not really like that or whatever he said. So Black women have been getting on him. We have really come to her aid and speaking out for her. You cannot tell a victim of a crime how to feel. Racism hurts everybody on a certain level, and so a person of privilege should not tell a person who has been a victim of racism, or a Black person, I'm gonna just put it out there, what it's like to be the victim of racism. How do you know, sir? How do you know, ma'am? So Megan has a right to tell her story. You understand? And I'm glad that we are rallying uh, behind her. But I don't agree with we're expected to be long suffering and mild. No, no. I don't want to be mild. I want to express my anger first, and then we can talk about some forgiveness.
And see, that's the part they leave out oftentimes in Christianity with the forgiveness piece. There is no processing of the emotion, processing of the experience, getting out how you feel. It's none of that. Okay, something bad happened to you, forgive them or you're not going to go to heaven. Like there's no concern for the whole process of what happened to you. And that it needs to happen. And then it's her perspective. But it's how she saw it. You can't tell me how I see something. And how I see it is my truth. So you see it another way, so that's your truth. But you can't say this is what happened and she's wrong. How I see it is how I see it. You don't. Yeah, and this what exactly did long suffering and being mild mannered get Black people anyway? No, and we got these white people who don't want to wear a mask storm the Capitol building because they don't want to wear mask, sir. Whole mask. This is my body. That sounds very familiar. This is my body, and you want to take, control of it. So it's so many double standards, right? And all of these situations just further giving us more evidence of what we already know. There are double standards. And it's because she's Black. And I was a little bit, I mean, I understand, but say it was racism. Oprah's like, what do you think is, she Black? Okay, so maybe she don't want to say she Black, or maybe somebody else want to say she Black, or maybe you want to feel better when you say she mixed. But don't nobody confuse her for white. And her baby, you know how many Black people were concerned about the color of her baby? None of us, because she's half white, he's white. We never thought the baby was gonna look like me. It never crossed nobody's mind, because we don't think about stuff like that. Like, we don't. So for them to think, it just shows even more how detached they are from it all. And someone not even of separate race, if you have a different race, you can't speak to what Megan went through. And if you're a separate race and a separate class, you definitely can't speak, because you don't know. Just like the average American does not know what it is to live off $2 a day in Cambodia. You just can't speak on it. You have no idea. And so you can't, yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Oh my gosh. Meghan Markle, when you watch this, I'm not gonna say when you watch this, we got you, love. We support you. And that's something else about Black women, right? It's like we will
I'm sorry, guys. I'm having a problem hearing you two.
Can you hear us now, Empress?
Right. I can't hear Carmelita or Morgan.
Oh, you
at
can't?
this
Am I?
point.
Oh no. Why don't you go out and come back in? Try to go out and come back in.
Okay, now I hear you.
Oh, you hear me now? Okay. So I think as Black women, like a lot of times that's what happens is, we do a great job rallying around, someone that has been marginalized or disenfranchised or, what have you, right? So I'm glad to kind of see, that, there is some support for her, in that instance. But this again, now, I don't have a problem with it, but I'm gonna need y'all to keep that same energy for yourselves as well. I'm gonna need you to do that for yourself as well. I'm gonna need you to do that for your fellow sisters as well. I'm gonna need our brothers to do that for us. I'm gonna need us to do it for our brothers. And again, we all must put ourselves in positions of loving ourselves and being and showing up as the best versions of ourselves, right? Because then that makes it easy for people to rally around you. I am going to say though that I want to read this statistic and then there's Empress. Okay, there she is. All right, can you hear us now, Empress?
Yes, I had to go out and come back in.
Okay, well, we're glad you're back. I'm going to read this statistic really quickly, just to put some food for thought. So, and this is on from Mental Health America about just Black communities and mental health. So it says that 13.4% of the population identifies as Black. Of those, 16% have reported having some level of mental illness or concerns or troubles. When you talk about 7 million people, and these statistics are 2 years old, okay? When you talk about 7 million people, that's more people than the combined populations of Chicago, Houston, and Philadelphia. And this is from 2 years ago, okay? Not only do we have the stressors of life, as we see with Shanae Bell, lower wages, home insecurities, not owning enough dirt indoors. We have that stress. We have the stress of our Black men and women being killed in the street. These are things. Then we also are. You got to understand when Dr. DeGroot talks about post-traumatic slave syndrome, that's a real thing. Morgan described it when we were talking about the trauma of having a child at 14 and then not having the ability to heal. Well, at what point was there mass therapy for people when they came out of slavery? I'll wait. Yeah, never. At what point was there mass therapy for people exiting segregation, exiting Jim Crow? Hell, at what point was there therapy for me exiting Macy's after I've been followed around the whole time? Like, we are constantly being traumatized over and over and over. And unfortunately, because we are of such strength and fortitude, we kind of take some of it, but then like Empress said, there's some days it's like, nah, B, I'm about to process this anger. Like somebody about to get this fire. So, but then we temper that a lot of times because that's what people expect. But it's almost like if you're constantly poking a hornet's nest, would you never expect the hornets to come out? And I think we have gotten to a point where when the empress said the biggest threat is unity, right? So we're at a point now that they see that our energies are starting to magnetically come together because the ancestors are fed up, we're fed up, and we are out here strategizing, healing, and unifying. And it ain't about to get real. It's already started. And for that, I am grateful. And I am so grateful to you two queens for joining me today. This has been so much fun. We are almost at the hour. And so I said we weren't going to go more than an hour. I did not want to hold you all just too long. This has been so wonderful. I have enjoyed this dialogue with this dope dialogue with these two women. And one more time, if you guys don't mind, and if you want to drop it in the chat, I can do that for you as well. Can each of you just let folks know how they can connect with you? And I'll mute myself. Empress, you can start.
On Instagram, it is BX underscore storyteller. Now I'm not all professional. You'll find some spiritual stuff on there. You'll find some, laughing stuff on there, some music. You'll definitely find some Black history and you'll find my work. So you can reach out to me on Instagram, again at BX underscore storyteller, or you can check out my website at www.empress, that's EMPRESSED.com. Impressforlife.com, forgetting. And or email me at simonequick8@gmail.com, and I will, definitely return your emails.
And I will also put all of that, I put some of that in the chat, and I will also put it in the description of this video. Go ahead,
Thank
Morgan.
Yes. Okay. So you can connect with me on Instagram. My IG name is I am Morgan B. Holland. So there goes my name right there. So I am Morgan B. Holland. And the link in the bio, you got some goodies in there. If you're looking to write a book anytime soon, I have a free planner, fillable planner. Grab it. Okay. The Merge, my book, The Merge, Love Yourself to Freedom. That's in there, the audiobook. So any way to contact me, it's going to be right there in my Instagram bio. So again, that's I am Morgan B. Holland. So yeah.
Ladies, thank you so much for having this dope dialogue with me. I have had so much fun. I mean, like, if I could do this every day, all day, and not have to do anything else, I would be so happy. So, you all are always friends of the Call Carmellita platform. Come back here anytime. We would love to have you. I am so grateful. And let me just also say to the audience again, please make sure that you are, subscribing to the channel, like this video, or don't like it. Doesn't matter. All of it helps the algorithm. Leave comments, because let me tell you what's important. When I bring people here, it's because I've experienced these people. I've talked to these people. I've vetted these people. These are people that we should support. You don't have to look hard to know how to, as Empress said, get back to the village. How do we get back to the village? By showing up, by supporting each other, by reading the literature that these queens write about our everyday struggles. We have two publishers in the house, journalists, authors, both of them award-winning authors. Get out of here. You got me twisted. I bring you the best of the best. So where do we start? We start by supporting each other. Go follow them on their IG. These things matter. And guess what? If you need something from us, we will be there for you. And that's the facts. As always, I leave you all the same way that I found you, and that is in peace. Thank you so much, everybody, for rocking with us today, and enjoy the rest of your